guys, it's Manager Kylie, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you some important terminology for soccer. So today I'm going to go through some terms to know both if you're watching soccer or if you're new to playing the sport. I have these terms split up into a few different categories, and we're going to go through all the different terms that you may hear. And if for some reason there's a term I don't mention that you want to learn more about, definitely let me know in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to tell you more about it. And if you guys are interested in more sports administration content just like this, definitely subscribe button, turn the bell so you get notified every time I upload, as I post a new video every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to dive into these terms for soccer. So the first section I have are positional terms, and I do have a separate videos explaining the different positions in soccer, so I'm going to go through these kind of quickly, but if you're interested in learning more details about each one of the positions, definitely check out that video. I will have it linked up in the iCard. But the field is split up generally with your attackers in the front, your midfielders in the middle, and your defensemen in the back closest to your net, with your goalie in the net. Some more specific position names for your attackers could be your wingers, which are the two on the side, and your striker is in the middle. And then for defense, you may have a sweep or sweeper, and that's generally your last line of defense. And then one other position I like to mention is your official. This is the referee, the person that is making sure that everything runs smoothly in the game, and then they're calling and blowing the whistles throughout the game. So the next category I have are all different types of kicks, passes, anything you possibly do with the ball, both just ways that you could pass it to a teammate or ways that you could be kicking it because of some sort of play that is happening. So a back heel pass is when used, like it says, back of your heel, and you kick it backwards that way. You might also try a bicycle kick. This one looks fun to watch on TV, but you're pretty much diving through the air, doing almost a somersault and kicking while your legs are up in the air. A back pass is when you're actually kicking it back towards your goal. Just try to reset your team, so you're kicking it away from some of the defenders, but closer to your goal actually, so that you can kind of reset it and have either your goalie or one of your defenders kick it back up the field. When you're going up the field and you're kicking the ball to yourself, that is called dribbling. If the ball goes out of bounds on the goal line, there's a few options that can happen from that. So if the offensive team kicks it out, it becomes a goal kick, so the goalie or one of the defenders is going to kick it up the field. If the defensive team kicks it out, it becomes a corner kick, so you go to one of the corner flags and you kick it in from there, trying to score, and it's now a set play to try to score. You may also get a direct free kick. So this is a free kick with nobody directly in front of you, so you have a direct shot at the net. You might also just get a free kick, so some sort of penalty or whatever happens, and this just means there's still people in front of you, but you're just kicking it up the field. When moving up the field, a lot of people will use a give and go, so this means you take the ball, you pass it to one of your teammates, and then you run back farther up, and then they pass it back to you. And then some other ways to move the ball up the field, you may use a header. So this is when you hit the ball off of your head to either yourself or a teammate. You might use a one-touch pass. So what this means is you get the pass from somebody else and you only kick it once to kick it to somebody else instead of trying to dribble it for a little bit and control it. You just literally touch it and hit. That's your initial kick to somebody else. Another way you may kick the ball is with your toe, and that's called a toe poke. It's usually more of like a quick little just to settle the ball. And to control the ball down, you might use your body or your feet to kind of like dribble and control the ball. That's just called controlling the ball, or sometimes called trapping the ball. To start off the game, it does start off with a kickoff. So this is when one team kicks it to another player of their team from the center of the field. If the ball goes out of bounds on the sidelines, instead of having some sort of kick, it actually is a throw-in. So you're throwing the ball over your head in. That's the only time you can really use your hands in soccer, besides when the goalie uses their hands. The next set of terms I have are some of your in-game terms, and the first one is ball carrier, and this is the person that is in control of the ball and carrying the ball up the field. So generally dribbling the ball, passing the ball, moving the ball up the field. Some of the things you may have on the field, you have your center dot, which is the center of the field. You're also going to have a center circle. You're going to have corner flags, as well as a net, a midfield line, and a penalty box area. And I'll explain more about the penalty boxes when I talk about penalties. But that's kind of your basic setup of the field. One other pass that I forgot to mention in the last section is you might have a cross pass. So this is when you're kicking it across the field to one of your teammates. So you're kind of crossing it into the middle of the field for somebody to try to score. Some different rules and organizations you may hear of are FIFA, You might also hear of the Confederation, Euro League. So there's lots of different leagues, and a lot of these leagues do call it football. So you may also hear that instead of it being called soccer, that's really an American thing. Most leagues do call it football. So as the World Cup comes around, these are some important terms to know when people are talking about the different things. The field also is called the pitch usually. So just another term. Some of it's just for wording depending on your country, but most people call it football and call it the pitch instead of calling it a field. The different posts on the goal, depending on where you position, also have names. So the post close to you, so the edge of the goal close to you is your near post. The close post farthest away from you is your far post. When you're playing defense, you have a few different options. You may be playing a zone defense or zone manning, and this is when you're covering more of an area, or you may have man-to-man marking, which means you each have an individual player that you're trying to cover. Another thing for the field, you do have a goalie box, so this is the area that the goalie is able to use their hands in, so if they come out of that, they can't use their hands anymore. And then the last section of terms I have are all things related to penalties and different things that you're allowed to do and not allowed to do, but can cause the other team to get some sort of free kick, or you might get a card or anything like that. So the first thing is a foul is any sort of illegal play, also called sometimes a penalty. There is a penalty box on the field. So what that is if a penalty happens in that area, so a handball or any other type of slide tackle or anything that's illegal happens in that penalty area, that would actually cause a penalty kick, which means you get a one-on-one shot with the goalie. If that happens anywhere else on the field, you get a direct kick instead of getting a penalty kick. So it's just where it happens on the field. Happening in there, it's a little bit closer to the net, and sometimes people will try to cause penalties intentionally there so that somebody can't score. So it actually gives them a free shot to try to score. Some other things that are illegal but don't cause some sort of penalty kick is offside. So if you're ahead of the defender when the pass is sent to you, that's considered offsides. Another penalty that you might see is obstruction. So this is kind of getting in the way of the player that is trying to score. If penalties do happen and they're more severe penalties, you may end up with a yellow card, which is kind of your warning card, or a red card, which means you have to leave that game. And for a lot of things, that means you have to leave that game and usually sit out at least another game. One other thing is in soccer, if you get 2 yellow cards, that equals a red card. So it's just something you have to pay attention to. If you have one yellow card, a second yellow card will mean you have to leave the game. Those are some basic terms for soccer. If you have any questions about the terms I mentioned, or if there's any terms you want to learn more about, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see a video like this for any other sports, let me know that as well. But I will see you guys next Wednesday.